Try a small experiment. When I say the words fleas or lice, do you suddenly feel your neck starting to itch? You haven't been bitten. Nothing is crawling on your skin. And yet your hand moves to scratch. So who gave the order for that action? This is a kind of psychological infection. Like yawning. Itch can spread from one person to another without physical contact. A video. A story. Even a mere thought of itching can be enough to activate the sensory nervous system. This phenomenon is called contagious itch, transmitted through observation. It is not simply an empathy reflex. It is evidence that the human brain is built like a network of mirrors. Each time you see someone else scratch, your brain does not process it as a scene happening out there, but as a potential threat to you. And from this collective reaction, something deeper becomes clear. Itch is not only a biological sensation, it is a sociological event, a silent language of vigilance and imitation. In 2011, at the University of Hull in the UK, neuroscientists showed videos of people scratching to a group of volunteers. The result, 62% of viewers began scratching within 30 seconds, even though there was no physical trigger. When researchers used fMRI, they found that the viewer's somatosensory cortex, the brain's body sensation center, lit up as if the viewers themselves were itchy. This is often explained through the mirror neuron system, mirror cells in the brain. They help humans imitate and empathize. You see someone smile. You smile. You see someone yawn. You yawn. And when you see someone scratch, your brain simulates that behavior as if the threat were real. From an evolutionary angle, this is community defense. In a primitive environment, if one member of the group had parasites, chances were the whole group was exposed. So a collective itch reflex becomes a survival signal. This goes far beyond biology. In modern society, it becomes a foundation of sensory contagion. How an emotion, an action, or a discomfort spreads through crowds, not by language, but by neural simulation. Itch, in that sense, is an early biological symbol of viral behavior. If you view itch through behavioral economics, every scratch is an investment decision. The brain accepts a small-cost, mild pain, minor damage to the skin in exchange for a potential benefit removing a harmful agent. This behavior can be modeled as a form of biological game theory, like an investor who accepts risk to prevent a larger loss. The human brain chooses short-term pain to avoid long-term harm, but in chronic itch, the calculation breaks. Each scratch releases dopamine and serotonin chemicals associated with reward, convincing you the action worked. Yet biologically, serotonin can also heighten itch pathways, pushing even more itch signals back to the brain. A double-leak loop. If you plotted it like a financial chart, the sensory returns diminish with each scratch, while the damage costs rise exponentially. Socially, this becomes a miniature portrait of instant consumption psychology, short-term satisfaction purchased with long-term loss. The body, in the end, is a complex biological market, and scratching an action that seems trivial exposes how the brain makes decisions it often prioritizes, fast relief over durable safety. During World War II, American researchers reportedly experimented with itch-inducing powders as a form of psychological pressure. One source involved Mucuna pruriens, a tropical bean whose tiny hairs can provoke intense itching on contact. It doesn't need to cause visible injury to be effective because the sensation can be overwhelming, is persistent, and hard to scratch away. Itch, unlike pain, is difficult to ignore. It hijacks the attention system, forcing the brain to lock onto a single point, weakening decision-making and endurance. That is why it can become a tool of behavioral control. In civilian life, an itch weapon is not only chemical. Media campaigns can sometimes operate on a similar principle, planting discomfort and dissatisfaction to push crowds into action. In marketing, some call it itch marketing, creating cognitive itch through images, sounds, or provocative information that leaves the audience uneasy. then offering a way to scratch it through action click. Buy. Share. In both war and advertising, itch proves one thing. Discomfort is one of the strongest behavioral levers. You don't have to cause pain, only make the brain unable to settle. And when attention is captured, free will starts to feel like an illusion. Recent research on specialized itch receptors, such as MRGPR and GRPR, is opening the door to a new era. The tuning of sensation, instead of merely treating itch, scientists are starting to ask a different question. Can we switch it off? Or alter the human threshold of feeling? In the future, neurotechnology, brain-computer interfaces, even projects like Neuralink could allow people to turn down sensitivity in extreme environments, astronauts in space, workers exposed to harsh chemicals, or soldiers on the battlefield. But a philosophical question emerges. If humans can reprogram sensation, will we still be feeling creatures or merely operators of emotion? Itch, small, annoying, seemingly meaningless, may become a gateway into an age of sensory technology, where the border between biology and machine gradually dissolves.